I used to think millionaire habits were fake. Just another bunch of motivational quotes people post online to sound productive. Wake up at 5 a.m., read books, exercise, work hard. I heard those things 1,000 times. But my life still wasn't changing. And honestly, that started bothering me. Because deep down, I knew exactly what my days looked like. Wake up tired. Check my phone immediately. Scroll for 5 minutes, which somehow turned into an hour. Tell myself I'd start working soon. Then waste more time watching other people succeed online. And the scary part is, I started realizing how normal that lifestyle felt. Like I was slowly getting comfortable being distracted, comfortable procrastinating, comfortable saying, I'll start tomorrow. But one night, I had a thought that genuinely scared me. What if my habits were quietly building a future I didn't actually want? That hit me hard, because most people think their future is created by one huge moment. But it's not. It's created by tiny decisions repeated every single day. And that's when I decided to test something. For 30 days, I was going to copy millionaire habits as seriously as possible. Not just one habit, everything. Morning routines, deep work, reading, fitness, tracking money, discipline, delayed gratification, everything. And I expected it to be difficult. But I didn't expect what happened around day 7. Because that's when I realized the hardest part of success isn't working hard. It's fighting the version of yourself that wants comfort all the time. Before we get into it, if you've ever felt stuck, unmotivated, or tired of watching your life stay the same, then subscribe, because this video might completely change the way you see your habits. The first habit I tried sounded simple. No phone for the first hour after waking up. That's it. And I thought, easy. It was not easy. The first morning, I literally reached for my phone without thinking, like muscle memory. And when I stopped myself, I felt uncomfortable, restless, almost anxious, which made me realize something disturbing. Most of us are addicted to stimulation. Before we even fully wake up, we're already consuming noise, notifications, messages, videos, drama, other people's lives. And without realizing it, we lose control of our morning immediately. That realization hit me hard, because I started noticing how chaotic my mornings used to feel. I wasn't starting my day intentionally. I was reacting to notifications, reacting to social media, reacting to everybody else. And millionaires? Most of them protect their mornings aggressively. At first I thought that sounded extreme, but after trying it, I understood why. Because when your morning feels calm, your entire day feels different. So instead of grabbing my phone, I started sitting in silence for a few minutes, then planning my day, thinking, writing goals down. And honestly, the first few days felt boring. My brain wanted entertainment. It wanted dopamine. It wanted distraction. And this is where I noticed something most people never talk about. Silence exposes you. When there's no scrolling, no music, no endless stimulation, you start hearing your real thoughts. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. But something strange started happening after a week. My mind felt clearer. I felt less rushed, less anxious, more focused. And I realized something powerful. Attention is one of the most valuable things you own. Because whatever controls your attention, controls your life. And most people give theirs away for free every morning. But that wasn't even the biggest change. The next habit completely exposed how distracted I had become. Deep work, no notifications, no multitasking, no random scrolling. Just focused work for 2 hours straight. And I'm not gonna lie, this one destroyed me at first. Because I thought I could focus. Turns out, I couldn't. Not really. 5 minutes into working, I wanted to check my phone. 10 minutes later, I suddenly remembered random things I needed to do. My brain kept searching for distraction, and that's when I realized something scary. Most people can't sit alone with difficult work anymore. We've trained ourselves to need constant stimulation. Think about it. We eat while scrolling, watch videos while texting, listen to music while working, open 10 tabs at once, and then wonder why we can't focus. My brain felt fried, but I kept going because I told myself, if this is uncomfortable, maybe that means it matters. And around the second week, something changed. I started finishing work faster. thinking more clearly. Ideas started coming easier, and for the first time in a long time, I felt productive without feeling overwhelmed. That feeling was addictive. Not social media addictive, real addictive, because there's something satisfying about seeing yourself actually improve. And then I realized why focused people become dangerous. Because focus is rare now. Everybody is distracted, which means if you can focus deeply, you automatically separate yourself. But then came the habit that challenged me emotionally more than anything else. Discipline, not motivation. Discipline. And this is where everything started changing mentally. Because before this challenge, I depended on motivation for everything. If I felt inspired, I worked. If I didn't feel inspired, I procrastinated, which meant my progress depended on my mood. And moods change constantly. Millionaires understand something most people ignore. Motivation is unreliable. Systems are reliable. Discipline is reliable. And during this challenge, there were days I genuinely didn't want to continue. I felt tired, lazy, unmotivated. Some mornings I literally sat there thinking, what's the point? But I kept hearing this thought in my head. Your future is built on the days you don't feel like trying. That changed something in me, because success suddenly stopped feeling emotional. It became behavioral. And one day, during the challenge, I noticed something. I was starting tasks faster, without arguing with myself for an hour first. That used to be my biggest problem. Overthinking, waiting to feel ready. But disciplined people don't wait to feel ready. They start, even when they don't feel like it. And honestly, that realization alone might have been worth the entire challenge. Because most people are waiting for motivation to save them. Meanwhile, successful people are building systems that work even on bad days. And then another habit started exposing something uncomfortable. Tracking money. This one surprised me the most, because I thought I was fine with money, until I started tracking every expense, every snack, every random purchase, every impulsive order. And wow, I realized how much money disappears emotionally. Not logically, emotionally. Bored? Buy something. Stressed? Buy food. Sad? Scroll online stores. Need dopamine? Spend money. That realization hurt, because I started understanding why so many people stay financially stuck. It's not always because they don't earn enough. Sometimes they lack awareness. And awareness changes everything. Because once I started tracking money, I became intentional. I paused before spending. I started asking, do I actually need this? And something interesting happened. The more intentional I became with money, the more intentional I became with time too. Because money and time are connected. Both disappear when you stop paying attention. And then came the habit that completely changed how I think. Reading. Every single day. Now I know reading sounds boring to some people. I used to think the same thing. But after a while, I noticed something strange. The books were changing how I saw life. I started noticing patterns. Mindsets, ways successful people think differently. And one line from a book hit me hard. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. That stayed in my head because social media trains us to expect instant success. Fast money, fast results, fast transformation. But real growth? It's slow, quiet, repetitive. And that realization made me more patient. I also noticed my conversations changing. My thinking changed. Even the questions I asked myself changed. Instead of asking, how do I get rich fast? I started asking, how do I become more valuable over time? That's a completely different mindset. And then something happened that I didn't expect at all. My confidence started improving. Not fake confidence, real confidence. Because self-confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. Every completed habit became evidence. Evidence that I could trust myself again. And honestly, that feeling is powerful. Because a lot of people secretly stop trusting themselves. They say they'll start tomorrow, then don't. They set goals, then quit. And after repeating that cycle enough times, you stop believing your own words. This challenge slowly reversed that. Then came fitness. And I underestimated this habit badly. Because I used to separate physical health from success. Big mistake. Once I started exercising consistently, everything improved. My mood, my energy, my focus, even my discipline became easier. And that's when I realized something important. Low energy creates lazy decisions. When you feel exhausted all the time, everything feels harder. Working feels harder. Thinking feels harder. Discipline feels harder. But when your body feels strong, your mind changes too. And there was one moment during the challenge I'll never forget. I looked at my screen time, and it shocked me. Hours. Gone. Every single day. Just disappearing into scrolling. And suddenly I understood something terrifying. Most people are slowly wasting their lives in tiny, invisible pieces. Not all at once. Just little distractions repeated daily. That realization genuinely scared me. Because imagine wasting 5 years like that. 5 years of distraction. 5 years of procrastination. 5 years of saying, I'll start later. That thought hit me hard enough to change something permanently. And then came the hardest habit of all, delayed gratification. Choosing long-term rewards over short-term comfort. This habit is where most people lose. Because comfort is seductive. Scrolling is easier than working. Sleeping in is easier than discipline. Entertainment is easier than growth. And successful people understand something painful. Your future often depends on what you're willing to sacrifice today. That doesn't mean never relaxing. It means controlling yourself. And during this challenge, there were moments I wanted to quit badly, especially when results felt slow. Because we all want immediate proof, immediate success, immediate transformation. But real growth doesn't work like that. Sometimes progress is invisible at first. And that's where discipline matters most. When there's no applause, no results yet, no recognition, just consistency. That's where successful people separate themselves. And around day 23, something clicked mentally. I stopped obsessing over results and started focusing on identity instead. Instead of asking, did I become successful yet? I started asking, am I becoming the type of person who can succeed? That shift changes everything. Because success isn't just money. It's behavior, identity, standards. And honestly, that realization might have been the biggest transformation of all. By the final week, my life didn't look completely different on the outside. But internally, everything felt different. I was thinking differently, using time differently, spending differently, working differently. And most importantly, I respected myself more. Because there's something powerful about proving to yourself that you can change. Then day 30 arrived, and I sat there thinking about the entire challenge. Did I become a millionaire? No, of course not. But something more important happened. I stopped feeling powerless. That's the best way I can describe it. Before this challenge, I felt like life was just happening to me. Now, I felt in control again. And that's when I realized something most people misunderstand about millionaire habits. The habits themselves aren't magic. The real transformation is who you become while practicing them. You become more disciplined, more intentional, more focused, more patient. And those traits eventually affect every area of life. Your finances, your health, your mindset, your relationships, everything. Most people think successful people are just different. But after these 30 days, I honestly don't think that anymore. I think they simply protect their habits differently. They protect their focus, their mornings, their standards, their time. While most people live reactively, successful people live intentionally. And maybe that's the real secret. Not talent, not luck, not motivation, just repeated intentional behavior over time. So if there's one thing this challenge taught me, it's this. Your life is quietly shaped by what you do daily, not occasionally, daily. And the scary part is, most people won't realize that until years have already passed. So ask yourself honestly, if you repeated your current habits for the next 5 years, where would your life end up? Because that answer might tell you everything you need to know. And maybe you don't need to change your entire life overnight. Maybe you just need to change what you repeatedly do every day. Because small habits seem weak in the moment, but over time, they build entire futures. And honestly, that might be the most important thing I learned in these 30 days.